the government desire to deliver. I appeal to senior officials, the Permanent Secretary, the Financial Controllers, Directors, that they continue to observe the 2026 budget. They must deliver to the expectation of the government, to carry out the program. My second point, Mr. Speaker, is with the procurement processes. Over the years, there were excuses attributed to the procurement processes as one of the processes slowing down the implementation and delivery of programs and policies. Mr. Speaker, sir, the call by the Minister of Fisheries early in his speech, contribution to the 2036 budget to open an account for the Bina Harbour project is a need to address the issue of procurement process experienced by implementing ministries. Sir, I think Bina, all of us, even Sabe, it's a long-standing issue. The past government, the present government, and I believe the future government and any government that will come. But we like to take him, Dinan. And we like to take him, the Minister of Fisheries. I think Lieutenant Dancer, me count him, and mention Bina Harbour. We like to take him. For you allocate him, I think 300 million for the Bina Harbour program. Ask the MP for East Koyo. Me like to thank him, the present government. You look survey this national project for the national government, the provincial government, the people of West Koyo, people of East Koyo too, and Malaita. It will certainly provide a lot of jobs. And be like to salute him, Dinan, for the allocation you have made to Bina Harbour processing factory. Sir, be happy with the Minister of Fisheries. I think you stay there now all the way. Yeah, also. Sorry, you look around too, but no worries. Yeah? Also, yeah. Thank you indeed. Yeah? Make sure we follow the Koyo like look in. Bina Harbour job next year or year after during the course of the tenure of this government. So, as a backbencher of the government, we strongly recommending Bina Harbour must go. Having national project for national government, and it will certainly go to Malaita province. The entire population of Malaita and in this country will go there and provide the opportunity for the local hand. Speaker, sir, may I call on the Ministry of Finance and Treasury to ease the procurement process to help implementing ministries deliver the budget effectively. As we understand, well aware, that the budget allocation to ministries have made already. Please, Minister of Finance, when sit on that side, I salute you. Yeah, make sure you don't hold it too much. Yeah, when it comes to procurement, yeah, you release man, make water money work. Yeah, also yeah. We hope that Minister of Finance will come to sit down there. My third and final point, and we finish now. Naraman God no. And we relate to the challenges with the development of rural infrastructure. The 2006 budget has the focus to support rural development by forest ministries. This is not intention to develop the rural areas. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, this intention would not be achieved if resource owners do not allow their land for development. Man, Solomon Island land him hardly with there. He may owned by tribe. He may customary lands. Him hard one. Me no like to tell him different constituency. He follow good no more. But the me follow East Koyo. We will get a machine too. Those machines, they are very important. What for constructing road here in that constituency? That policy at that time had a rural infrastructure. So member get them over the machine. About 8 years, we will work a little bit, land is to go. Block come stop him more. You know, enter here. Okay, in order for the relationship development, legislation, and in our rural areas, we need to allow our land. No matter customary, you must look survey this one. And it's very important in order for any government for carrying out what the program will have. Very important. And Hema Milak talent. I got a machine. Thank you. Mana sok war led government that time. Me take a machine. Hemi stay lo East Koyo. Work a little bit. Stop. Yeah. Thank you STA Atovi for the fact that you continue for using more the machine. Yeah. For building the environment long Atovi Hospital. Wrote him put something here and make a market out there. Women shall participate, men shall participate in any development, marketing, and so forth, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, these challenges may have also been faced by other constituencies, thus affected the intention of the good budget. Also, maybe other constituencies, what a good year, what a along work now, also. Mr. Speaker, may I call on resource owners to have developmental mindset so that we can deliver important developments to our people in the rural areas. It's my humble plea and call upon every resource owners in this country that for open up and for crossing Hemlo Handbury Walla. So, Mr. Speaker, with these few remarks, we do support the 2006 Appropriation Bill 2035. May God continue for leading me and guiding me and guiding this government, the budget program, for you carry me out of the programs and policy of government. God bless this nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Let me give the floor to Honourable Minister for Education, Human Resources and MP for South Treasury first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to rise and also to contribute towards the Appropriation Bill 2026. Firstly, let me also join others to thank the Minister for Finance and your team at the Ministry of Finance and Treasury, and also all other line ministries for putting together the budget appropriation bill that we are now currently discussing in this floor of Parliament. Also, I'd like to thank the Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee and also his team for compiling the report which we have before us and we are currently debating. Mr. Speaker, as I also like to contribute towards this bill with particular reference to the Ministry of the estimate budget for my Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development, I do so also full support of the government under the gender policy framework, which places quality education, equitable access, ICT advancement and human capital development at the center of our national transformation agenda. Mr. Speaker, let me begin by informing this House of the basis upon which the 2026 MERD annual work plan and the budget has been formulated. I wish to reaffirm that Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development is firmly guided by a clear strategic direction and a robust reform agenda, where MED continues to operate under a well-defined long-term and medium-term strategic frameworks that provides a coherence, stability, and a purpose on an ongoing transformation of our national education system. We are currently now implementing the education sector framework known as the ESF 2016 to 2030, which provides the long-term vision for education reform. Also under the National Education Action Plan, in short we call it NEAP 2022 to 2026, which outlines the medium-term priorities. As these frameworks, the NEAP now coming to almost completion, the Ministry has already commenced its work on the next roadmap that will begin on 2027 to 2031 National Education Action Plan to ensure that continuity and reinforcement of ongoing reforms is continued. Furthermore, under MED, Mr. Speaker, we also completed the ICT Master Plan 2026 to 2030, which will drive the digital learning, the ICT infrastructure development, school connectivity, and technology enabling teaching across the sector. Mr. Speaker, for the first time since independence, Solomon Islands now has a fully developed education legislative framework that is supported by a well-aligned strategic frameworks. This is a historic milestone. These frameworks ensure that every reform, whether in teaching management, curriculum, assessment, pedagogy or infrastructure, is well guided by a coherent and legally supported policies. Equally important, Mr. Speaker, are development partners, including DFAT, MFAT, UNICEF, European Union, World Bank, Asian Development Bank. All these donor funders, they use the ESF, or the Education Sector Framework, and the NEP to design and to align their support to the education sector. This strengthens coordination, avoids duplication, and to ensure that every investment that is contributed directly to our national education priorities. Mr. Speaker, next I wish to inform the House about the public expenditure benchmark for education and to ensure the House the commitment of previous governments and the current government of the national unity and transformation, the financing of our education sector, which is a huge responsibility despite persisting challenges. Mr. Speaker, I wish to highlight the global accepted benchmark for public investment in education, which is guided by the UNESCO. Each country is expected to allocate the education sector 4% to 6% of its GDP, or 15% to 20% of total national expenditure. These benchmarks, Mr. Speaker, help the government to assess whether their spending aligns with the international best practices and support progress towards the SDG 4, which is the quality education. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report that since 2014, successive governments, including the current Jinnat government, have consistently exceeded this benchmark. In the 2025 financial year, the government has allocated about 30% of total national expenditure to education. This reflects Jinnat's clear recognition of education as a national priority. For the 2026 financial year, of the total appropriation of 5.6 billion, excluding the statutory charges of 681,221 of the national budget, MERD has been allocated a recurrent budget of 1.32 billion, development budget of 83.7 million, donor budget support of 72.7 million, brings the total of MERD allocation to 2.89 billion. This substantial and sustained investment reflects our unwavering commitment to strengthening human capital, expanding learning opportunities, and ensuring that no child was left behind. The next point I would like to share, Mr. Speaker, with you in this is the outcome of the 2025 budget implementation. Despite fiscal constraints, MERD continues to record significant achievements in 2025. A major milestone was the rollout of the new teachers' classification and salary structure. All eligible teachers transitioned to the new system. Salary adjustments proceeded. Teachers' morale improved, and it is our hope that teachers' absenteeism may have also reduced and classroom performance is strengthened. This reform, Mr. Speaker, addresses a long-standing issue raised by Solomon Islands National Teachers Association, or SINTA, regarding teachers' remunerations, concerns that are worthy and legitimate. This constructive dialogue and negotiation, the government and MERD and SINTA have reached an agreed settlement that benefits our teachers. The MERD, with support from the Jinnat government or any future government, will continue to work closely with SINTA to ensure that teachers' welfare and professional growth are effectively resourced or supported in years ahead. Mr. Speaker, next I would like to talk about the curriculum development and the learning resources that MERD has developed. Mr. Speaker, curriculum development and the adequate resourcing of teaching and learning materials remains central to improving learning outcomes across all levels of our education system, particularly at school and the classroom levels. At the end of 2024, MAD completed 45 textbooks and teaching and learning resources for primary and junior secondary in English, mathematics, health, arts and culture, Christian life education, physical education, and technology. Several of these are now undergoing tender processes for printing and will be distributed in 2026. MAD has distributed about 79,921 primary mathematics teachers' guides and learners' books nationwide to safeguard long-term access. Of that, 10% of the printed books has been reserved for schools that might be affected by disaster or emergency cases. These achievements, Mr. Speaker, were made possible through a strong support between the national government with our donor partners, especially DFAT and MFAT, through the Education Sector Support Program. Mr. Speaker, next, I'd like to brief this Honourable House on the administration of national assessment, which serves as an important measure of the overall health and performance of our education system. Mr. Speaker, MAD continues to strengthen our national assessment systems to effectively monitor learning outcomes across all schools. National exams for this year, Year 9, Year 11, and Year 12, were administered between October 27 to 7 November this year. And out of these three disciplines, Year 9, 11, and 12, for Year 12, 5,064 students from 61 schools were expected to sit for the exam. In Year 11, 8,213 students from 165 schools were expected to sit for exam in Year 11. And for Year 9, 12,201 students from 350 schools were expected to sit for Year 9. A total of 26,061 students were expected to have set the national exam around October and November this year. This examination and the placement result will be released by the second week of January 2026. And this will give ample time to students and parents to prepare for the school academic year, which will begin on 26 January 2026. Mr. Speaker, I would like to also draw our attention on the examination paper leakage, which continues to remain a serious concern. This year, there are 3 cases which have been reported and are currently investigation have been conducted. And out of this conduct, those who were involved, particularly the teachers and school leaders, will be dealt with accordingly. MAD is strengthening examination protocols and will ensure that accountability to protect the integrity of the national education or assessment system. Mr. Speaker, one of the methods that MAD is able to monitor students' learning outcome is through literacy and numeracy, through the Pacific Islands Literacy and Numeracy Assessment, known as PILNA, which is used to assess whether Year 4 and Year 6 school pupils are meeting the literacy and numeracy standard set. The test is administered in 15 Pacific Island countries this year, and the test is administered in October, and a total of 120 primary schools in our country participate in this PILNA, with analysis to be completed by the Fiji-based Education Quality Assessment Program, or SPC, that the result, we hope, will be released in September 2026 next year. The Mayor, Mr. Speaker, also piloted the Pacific Assessment for lower secondary science, technology, engineering, and mathematics assessment, which was conducted in 3 different Honiara-based schools. And this is a regional assessment and a capacity building program that explicitly includes science assessment work, aligns with Pacific Regional Education Framework students' outcome. Mr. Speaker, under the Global Partnership for Education GPE System Transformation Grant, MED has completed a baseline study involving 80 schools across the 5 provinces, and 800 teachers and school leaders were involved in this assessment or in this study. MED applied for and successfully secured the GPE funding to support the implementation cost of this reform initiative. The baseline survey findings highlighted key challenges in teaching quality or teachers' quality, the school leadership, and learning environments, while also recognizing the areas of progress. This finding, Mr. Speaker, will help to inform the development of our new professional development framework that is targeting 2,640 teachers across 300 schools. Mr. Speaker, allow me now to highlight some of the key achievements delivered by MED under the 2025 development budget. In 2025, MED was allocated 16.7 million for school infrastructure projects, including school water, sanitation, and hygiene, or WASH facilities. SINU was allocated 50 million for its capital development, bringing a total development budget to 66.7 million for this year budget. By October, MED had executed or disbursed the budget successfully, meaning it accessed and expanded the entire development budget allocated under our development budget. Under this allocation, there are construction which commenced on 23 schools infrastructure projects, including office buildings, double-story classrooms, and ablution blocks, and are expected to be completed in 2026. 5 infrastructure projects were completed and handed over to schools. Under donor-supported, mainly DFAT and MFAT, 14 projects were completed. 7 are nearing completion, and 9 will be commenced in 2026 under the DFAT support. The People's Republic of China is also supporting the government to rebuild the Honiara High School, which was recently burned down in a classroom, ablution blocks, and which are destroyed during the 2021 riots. 10 infrastructure projects under the ADB funded senior secondary education improvement projects will also begin in 2026. 1 secondary school in each province, and Honiara will benefit from the infrastructure project under the 6-year program. Next, I would like to highlight the number of national scholarship programs and tertiary skills development. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to provide an update on the National Scholarship Program, a key government initiative that supports access to tertiary education and strengthen our national skills development effort. As of 2025, 1,427 SIG-sponsored students are currently studying across the Pacific Island countries, including, particularly in Fiji, Samoa, Vanuatu, as well as in Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, and the Philippines. 1,219 students are studying at SINU. 36 students are undertaking training in rural training centers, technical college, and nursing schools. In total, 2,682 SIG-sponsored students were currently studying towards their qualification. Of this, 544 544 sponsored students have graduated this year. In addition, other development partners continue to offer scholarships to Solomon Islands to study abroad. Currently, the government provides scholarship to Solomon Islands. The government of Australia, through the Australian Award Scheme, the government of New Zealand, through the Manaki Scholarship Program, the government of Republic of China, and the government of Papua New Guinea through its funded scholarship program under the bilateral relationship. Under the Australian Skills Award, more than 600 scholarships have been offered to students undertaking studies in rural training centres across Solomon Islands. And our thanks are extended to our development partners for their unwavering support in our national training of our people. Mr. Speaker, the Solomon Island Tertiary Education and Skills Authority, known as SciTESA, recorded a significant progress based on the annual work plan in 2025, including completion of the Solomon Island Tertiary Education and Skills Plan 2026, of the 2026 scholarship, development and cabinet endorsement of the new TVET policy, which will be implemented as the beginning of 2026, the development of SciTESA 5-year strategic plan and the integrated information management system, the accreditation of 17 qualified and 1 skill set under the Solomon Island Qualification Framework. And finally, under SciTESA also reference the Solomon Island Qualification Framework to the Pacific Qualification Framework through Pacific Qualification Recognition Project. This achievement, Mr. Speaker, reflects the government's continued commitment to strengthening tertiary education and to ensure that these frameworks will help us or help our workforce in equipping with relevant skills. I would like to also now to respond to the 2 recommendations which made by the Public Accounts Committee. The recommendation 8, which calls for the introduction of tuition-only scholarship to enable more students to access tertiary education and training. Mr. Speaker, MERD has reviewed its scholarship policy and incorporated changes to introduce a tuition-only scholarship model for eligible students studying in SINU beginning in 2026. Our anticipation is to get the paper through to caucus and cabinet for approval before we can implement this in our 2026 academic year. Under this model, we anticipate that constituency scholarship awards will only cover for tuition only. That means there will be no living allowance, no book allowance, no travel support or accommodation subsidies will be provided under this category. Mr. Speaker, the reform to support SIG's transition toward a demand-driven, fiscal sustainable human capital development framework that strengthens the national tertiary learning systems. The policy may apply to all SIG-funded scholarship applicants for 2026 onwards, all SIG scholarship categories with emphasis on the constituency scholarship category, the SciTESA and NSD, and all SINU accredited program approved by SciTESA. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I wish to thank the Minister of Finance and his team to recognize the increase of the education grant that will come to all MPs, to also calling you to support our students through those grants that is increased from 400 to 600 allocations for 2026. And we wish to thank the Minister of Finance for accepting that increase. Mr. Speaker, also in recommendation 9, not only commends the effort made by MED to formally introduce second chance education, ensuring that young people who discontinue their schooling are supported to complete their formal education. Students may discontinue their education for various reasons, such as pregnancy and early parenthood, behavioral or alcohol-related problems that result in the termination. Some maybe could be school fee challenges or socioeconomic pressures. They have to leave school. Some may be through bullying, stigma, or lack of support services. Others could be geographic barriers and limited access to upper secondary, and probably household responsibility. These are some of the reasons that can discontinue students. But through Second Chance, the PAC, and I'd like to thank the PAC, and we're definitely taking on board this recommendation 9 to strongly recommend that members of parliament should allocate a portion of their scholarship grant, for example, either 50,000 to 100,000 for this special, for the Second Chance, specifically for Second Chance education, in order to make the policy strong and to help the best students waiting for opportunities. MED is in a process to design a Second Chance education framework or policy to address dropout rates, lower completion levels, and limited re-entry pathways for learners who disengage from primary and secondary schooling. My final intervention, Mr. Speaker, is to inform this Honourable House about how my ministry prioritizes for 2026. A total of $129 million has been secured in the 2026 MED budget to settle teachers' back pay, and this allocation reflects the SINTA demand and the agreement reached between SINTA and SIG and MED in the first quarter of 2026. In addition, ECE teachers will be paid their salaries under the new classification and salary structure before end of December 2025, and we are calling on the Ministry of Finance to help us get this one through before this year ends. It becomes currently my Ministry and Finance are working on so that we clear these areas that has been already been agreed upon. So we hope that the ECE will be paid before end of this year. TVET teachers will also receive payment based on their new classification and salary structure in early 2026 in accordance with the establishment policy requirements. These teachers, Mr. Speaker, are not included in the new classification and salary structure when the rest of the teaching workforce receive their pay rise on 15th of May this year, 2025. And this is due to the incomplete personal data identified during merge verification of their teaching positions. So the other priorities for 2026, Mr. Speaker, is to complete and operationalize the policy on teachers' annual leave package and housing. Next, the expand teachers' training and upgrading, complete 27 classrooms and wash facility. We also anticipate to distribute and introduce the new curriculum materials for primary and junior secondary schools to teachers. Also to scale up early childhood education, strengthen the digital learning and school connectivity, to improve the provincial service delivery through decentralization, implementation of the Education Act and administrative instructions and other reforms which are associated with the Education Act. Designing of the Second Chance education framework to provide opportunities to young people who discontinue their primary or secondary education. We are also anticipate to reintroduce of the multilingual program in selected language groups, and also to introduce a newly developed curriculum materials to teachers, and to designing and develop of senior secondary education curriculum for years 10, 11 and 12, and also we anticipate to prioritize through SINU, the review of our Bachelor of Teaching Primary and construction of teaching laboratory at SINU Panatina campus, which is funded under the DFAT of the Government of Australia. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, education remains the most powerful tools for nation building. The 2026 budget is not simply an expenditure plan. It is a strategic investment for our young people, our communities, and our nation's long-term development. I commend the Minister of Finance and Treasury for tabling the Appropriation Bill 2026. My ministry is committed to ensure that the financial resources allocated to MED will be utilized effectively in line with the ministry's 2026 annual work plan, which has already been finalized. With these remarks, Mr. Speaker, I fully support of the Appropriation Bill 2026 as responsible, future-focused, and aligned with the national interest. With that, Mr. Speaker, I therefore support the passage of the bill, and thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. We give the floor on the side again to Honourable MP for Small Malaita, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I rise to contribute to the motion by the Honourable Minister for Finance and Treasury on the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025. At the outset, sir, let me congratulate the Minister for handing down the budget, and also its staff from him and other ministries that have worked very hard to put the budget together. In the same vein, sir, I joined the PAC chairman to express gratitude to all the witnesses that appeared before the PAC during the past 2 weeks, including permanent secretaries, under secretaries, directors, and other ministries, including also representatives of our donor partners in the country. We also like for acknowledging the work of the Auditor General in his dual responsibilities or functions for him, giving briefing and compiling the final report that has been submitted to the House. Sir, my contributions will focus on a number of policy and operational matters highlighted by the PAC report. I will comment on a few selected budget figures as they relate to the government's vision, and then comment on a number of concerns that could undermine the implementation of the 2026 budget and dampen the good intentions of the government. Sir, the theme of the budget and the principles underlying the theme, and I quote, accelerating economic transformation, resourcing the resourced to drive economic growth and sustainability. Sir, these are very bold statements which, to my mind, are consistent with the name of the government. What not name, yeah? Government of National Unity and Transformation. Sir, you will agree with me that the country is yearning for transformation from all corruptive conduct to more ethical standards and integrity, from being part of the problem to being part of the solution. Our people are yearning to see transformation in economic and employment opportunities. They are eagerly looking for a decent standard of health care, receiving a good education, being upskilled to look after themselves, and a strong, secure society, generally a better livelihood. This country, our people, sir, deserve better than what they are being delivered now. I note, sir, in recent times the government has made various announcements on actions and policy measures being undertaken towards making good of this. In the same vein, the 2026 budget, as outlined by the Minister, has provided a breath of fresh air. So, Staka ministers over the talk finish, outlining what they are going to be doing in implementing their ministerial budget and also to ensure the policy actions and the intentions of the budget are delivered on. But to trivalna mi parwa like in tok blogger to me what statements by what minister semi by me go ask him more what statement from Mogada because I'm very good to Maslumi. Minister for Agriculture, for example, tok blogger para hairness to Maslumi as Minister for Commerce, I'm just going on but time mi kakamlo ya, tok blogger para very good lomira, Mr. Speaker. Minister of Fisheries too, of course, the Minister for Finance, where he put on several proposals and policy actions he intends to be taken. These are all very good signals, sir. We all look forward to the outcomes of these policy actions in due time. Sir, let me first time make a sketch, a quick schedule to survey the policy environment in which the 2026 budget was framed. Globally, since 2023, global growth has been declining, although it is estimated to be above 3% next year. However, downside risks persist, including financial market imbalances, rising protectionist actions by the US, labor supply shocks and fiscal vulnerabilities emanating from geopolitical fragmentation in Europe and in our part of the globe. Global inflation also continues to decline. So, being a small and open economy, all these outcomes have a direct impact on Solomon Islands' domestic economy. And in regards to the domestic economy, CBSI forecasts Solomon Islands' economic indicators showing a mixed outcome by the end of Q3 this year. In terms of production, it showed a mixed outcomes, declines in ground logs, fish and cocoa, while there were increases in minerals, palm oil, and copper production. As well, the services sector, mainly tourism, investment, construction, wholesale and retails, have also shown some increases. Inflation has been increasing, sir, driven mostly by housing and the rising cost of utilities. On the fiscal front, the deficit has widened to a little bit small number, $43 million in Q3. This is compared to $28 million in the previous year during the same period. Movements in revenue and expenditure have kind of offset each other. Revenue have grown by 10%. At the same time, expenditure may rise by the same rise. Government debt rose by 16% to $4 billion from 2024. This is equivalent to 25% of GDP, well below the 35% threshold. The external sector, led by strong export performance, resulted in the trade deficit narrowing, which resulted in the external reserves rising by 11% to $6.4 billion. This stock of external reserves is equivalent to 11.5 months of imports cover, according to the central bank. So, sir, both the global environment as well as the domestic conditions, I think to a certain extent can give us some hope into 2026. The central bank, of course, advised that these statistics remain tentative given ongoing fluctuations in global economic conditions. But as I said, sir, The outcomes are a good foundation for a positive outlook into 2026. Sir, growing the economy must be the center goal for any government. We must ask ourselves the important questions. What is this budget going to do in terms of enhancing household incomes? How will this budget bring more employment opportunities to our citizens? How will it enhance delivery of health services, security, and better living standards for our people? The budget, sir, is the driver to deliver on these important questions. Sir, another important consideration is that we should know, and we know, that a major chunk of the Solomon Islands economy resides with the public sector. And so, sir, fiscal operations influence and lead the pace and the size of the economy. Annual government expenditure, therefore, play a very critical role in this regard. So I know that the Minister already has in his arsenal most of the instruments necessary to make this work, including a conducive tax regime, especially the newly passed VAT, sir. In this budget, sir, it is heartening to note that the government is making correct policy choices which are matched by tangible budgetary allocations. Sir, apart from the many support services provided by other line ministries, I have to single out a number of ministries for which their budget allocation, especially the development budget allocations, have to be singled out. And I mentioned the following ministries. In the productive sector, agriculture, Mr. Minister Mustad, but you've all got thank you for me. Fisheries, $65 million. Commerce, $67 million. Culture and tourism, $46 million. That among these four ministries, that's a total budget development expenditure of $282 million. And in infrastructure, Minister of Infrastructure, $147 million in his development estimates, as well as aviation. Me happy, $65 million law there, sir. We're happy law there. That's a total of $212 million. These are investments, that's the point when we like Mekeme, sir. These are investments that will have a direct impact on growing the economy. Sir, I would ask for more, and you will note there are several recommendations which the PAC proposed increased allocations. But I say to the Minister and the Ministers, I think you've got your fingers on the right pulse. So I urge you, and me join a member for East Koyo, sir, you go ahead, proceed to making it happen. These allocations are in those sectors critical for growing the domestic economy. So spend it and spend it all for their intended purposes. No allow them kind reservations for treasury. You must tell them, AG Minister, no any reservation this year. Especially what ministries here. No, give him this one and I mean by making Mosem or the intentions where government garemia under budget. They buy me no deliver lo him. By him late, by me no work him in something at all same. Sirs, so you stop him with the cash flow excuses in the past. We have found out also in the past kind of excuse also hindering fulfilling those good investments, those good intentions as proposed under the budget. We must come out of those practices in the past Be transformed, not lo mai no mai, sir, in action now, transform land. Sir, I would like to reiterate this further by taking up a number of points raised by a number of ministers in their contributions on the budget. Samfalongata out raising this very important point that there's much to gain by reaping low-hanging fruit. Start low-hanging fruit, yes, and by me repeating more, these ministries in the productive sector. Agriculture, for example, coconut, cocoa, and kava. These are trees that are already on the ground and bearing fruit. Sir, of course we will need to replant, but already they are bearing fruit. Sir, Taimlo inquiry, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, or go down Low West, they've had to not offload, or go from Noma, 4,000 bags of copra. A little bit help here by Mosem, sir. Fisheries, seaweed, yeah, sir. Hey, everywhere. These are family-based, small investment, easy to manage, and quick to harvest. Seaweed, yeah, 6 weeks no more you harvest now, sir. Ministry of Culture and Tourism, we look himself a proposal or therefore support him. Rural-based, family-run, low-cost housing, also operating with small guests accommodation. This is good. What people were running economy as farmers, fishermen, and all these people. Sir, I don't need to remind you, sir, but I think when we invest in these areas, every dollar spent in copra, kava, or in a patch of seaweed, or in a family guest accommodation goes into family income in rural Solomon Islands. And on infrastructure development, sir, it's not rocket science to make the connections between investments in infrastructure and economic outcomes. More roads, more airports, maritime wharves, and storage space in support of the productive sector is wise investment, sir. They all contribute to increased production. Every kilometer of road constructed to support the productive sector enhances production level. Every kilometer of road brings these products closer to the market, to the storage facility, to seaports, and transportation to buyers, both in Honiara and even overseas. Every kilometer of road doubles and trebles the tonnage of cocoa, copra, seaweed to the market. Every storage space provided at a seaport for copra, for cocoa, for kava, increase the tonnage of these products. Sir, we happy now that the government has now got a renewed vigor shown by the large budget allocations for these development programs in the Ministry of Infrastructure and Civil Aviation. Make them airport, Minister. Go ahead, make them airport more and more. So, sir, if anyone is looking for the most efficient and effective method of income distribution, this is it. This is the most efficient method of spreading economic activity throughout Solomon Islands. The most efficient method of ensuring wider participation in the economy by our population. If you are looking for a method, this is it. So I urge the Minister again, spend the funds on time and in those targeted areas. You can never go wrong to invest in these sectors to grow the domestic economy. Sir, while applauding the government for those good proposed actions, I have concerns in a number of areas. Firstly, me mention labor mobility, or someone for low-hanging fruit too, sir. In our endeavor to ensure our excess supply of labor, have no lay idle, we send our men and women to work in places and farms and abattoirs in Australia and New Zealand. So the report, me look him in, tell him that we probably have almost 6,000 or 7,000 of our people working in Australia and New Zealand under this scheme. So these are 6,000 or 7,000 people that would have been walking the streets of Honiara aimlessly without a job. But look at what they are doing. Most of them, sir, remittances where we come and strengthen foreign exchange, sir. I think 300 or 400 million derived from this scheme, sir. So within a matter of few years, no more, we reaching that one. Something which we haven't been doing. They also represent, well, if one fellow worker represent one fellow family, that's 6,000 families benefiting from those remittances in terms of paying school fee, making a small business, and supporting family, low-income family, also family needs. So, sir, Solomon Islands is surely benefiting from this scheme, and of course, the Australian economy as well. However, sir, there are pressing issues that have emerged to the detriment of this scheme. And some, for example, where we need to work with him. Firstly, adaptation by our workers to the new environment in Australia and in some of these places. A new environment which in some cases can be a cultural shock, sir. Employment culture and environment in Australia is difficult and different to us from Yumi Loya. Yeah? You know, attend lo waka, you know, selena. No sem lo here, no mati no kam lo waka, you kagaram selena. So I urge the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other relevant authorities must take extra steps to ensure our workers are fully and thoroughly briefed before they will go. Net take-home pay too, sir, in most, if not all cases, remain very low. This is a result of low pay rates and higher deductions. The government, I'm saying the government because the government must take a lead in taking decisive action to address this with their counterparts in Australia as well as the employers. Lastly, one for concern along this scheme is social related problems. So pregnancies and stakatumas. Some people who come here, I come volunteer. Well, they leave Solomon Islands, married, then time of custom in Australia, they unmarry themselves and get married there again. So family breakdown and hey, stuck to myself, Mr. Speaker. So I'm good something, but this fella good something is causing or resulting in unintended outcomes. I think the issue where I've got to share him with me, lot time me talk with him some is pastoral care, and no meaning, well, I've got no meaning you lot to man must, yeah, although that would be the best. Pastoral care and support is an immense and immediate need. Mr. Speaker, I think you may have to recruit him some pastors, yeah, for go there. Some ival sa pastor ival go there too. You must protect them scheme, yeah, Mr. Speaker. Good one for you, me. Ival go pastor, but ival pastor good. Straight. Secondly, sir, nara concern mi garem hemi lo Honiara City road system. Sir, you may say that Honiara hosts about 80% of the national economy and probably maybe up to 25% of the total population, depending on how far you want to put the boundary. With that level of concentration in economic activity and people, you need a robust management system, adequately and strong enforcement, good administration and technical expertise, and also good leadership for care along this whole city. Obviously, Honiara City is suffering as a result of a serious lack in all these areas. Sir, the poor state of the city's road system is a classical example of the general poor state of affairs in Honiara. It is fair to say that this is a result of a combination of factors, or the road blaming, and especially this new road. I think, I believe it's poorly designed, poor planning, non-compliance, and poor management. Sir, time mi herem minister lo MID mi tokena mi para happy na. Mi para happy because two or something is first him like take action now. Him like go straight him what's on here road here. Him like straight him now. Yeah? But secondly, him got him selling lo him now. So minister, you lo where? You no excuse mo. You walk now. Mas walk him road here, straight him road here, no good here. You will tell him also man driver no more road no good. Me want East Honiara coming down to town, something where normal road him should be less than 10 minutes. Him take him calls up 2 hours now, sir. That one you know because man knows how to drive or drive slow. Or road no good. So minister time him talk yesterday me para happy sir. By me go look at him after this one make me talk happy him. He is already taking steps to address this, which is very heartening. Me also want to say that me happy because city city council now got supposed to manage him and look after and all that. So me happy that Hemitalem Honiara City Council will be a very important part of these discussions and planning. But I would like to suggest in those discussions and plans that one for something where Imino Karem no Honiara is parking lots. And I mean place Lo Park, Fulham Road, Lo Side Road, and Lo Front of the business premises here. And what I'm going to be suggesting to the ministry is to the government, parking lots should be user pay. That achieves two objectives or two goals. One, by revenue for by Blow City Councillors, I would recommend that all these parking lots belong to the City Council. So everyone pay, you pay Blow City Council now. So no this kind of parking law market no more. Everywhere else, Fulham Road here where you can provide parking, make them user pay. Everybody. So in achieving that revenue objective, by me achieving too, this fella easing low traffic congestion. If you know got any place for parking, you go back to the house. Go back to the house, you know. You go back to the house and you go take a bus, you come back to the work. Him know how our city should run, yeah? Kind also everyone you will want you garam ka, wife garam ka, husband garam ka, beginning garam ka, everyone like for same time want to go to market all together too. No, well, that's not how we run a town. So, sir, I would highly recommend that this one now, something where if the minister should take him up, hemi good. I would also suggest, sir, that traffic check here, you know, make him end of month or beginning of month now. Make him every week. Make him check here every week, you know. So the car where, and some of the bus where you go inside, you look him no more ground, yeah. Some of the bus or same, yeah. Some of the seats look at the bus, you say, why no more? Let me know roadworthy. All the kind of say, I must leave him go now. Sir, I acknowledge that these investments need resources, but also more the car parking lots. I think once managed properly, they should be self-funded. So that one, you know, worry long him. Thirdly, sir, the issue of sovereign wolves. Sir, I'm advised that the matter of sovereign wolves is politically sensitive and that I should refrain from being critical of the current arrangements. Sir, I may be naive, but by me not stop here. I'd like to continue bringing this up so that we all, or those concerned, must come out clear on this. You know, Barasa, why this should be politically sensitive. So, we have lead to the question why. Why is it politically sensitive when it should be a matter for normal administrative actions by the officers concerned? Why is it politically sensitive when a government officer is only doing his job in applying the law? And why is it politically sensitive when a public officer must make decisions in the interest of the country? In this regard, sir, me here and Minister of Commerce and talk me para happy law. The interest of the country must come first and foremost. Even though look at them interest of anyone more. Sir, during the PAC inquiry, this matter came up, and me a little bit worried no more. Law the explanations where Controller and Ports Authority were what appeared before us, or to make them, as it were, they leave us with more questions than answers. Sir, Customs Act have a clear reason for authorization of severance wars. The controller explained this very clearly. And he explained that throughout the country, certificate we have give him, same normal, everyone. But the witnesses highlighted two facilities or two sites in Honi report which continue to function. One, this was Leroy Wharf as an international wharf, and Goodwood as a severance wharf, which you may use in your Street Games 2023. So from the inquiry, there are some interesting observations to be made. First, Goodwin, for example, continues to operate as a severance wharf, and the controller informed the committee that the certificate issued to this wharf does not have an expiry date. Leroy Wharf, at the same time, is declared as an international port under the Ports Act. At the same time, that wharf is located in the geographical jurisdictions of the Solomon Islands Ports Authority in terms of the Solomon Island Ports Authority Act. It is of great concern that in his testimony the controller could not give the assurance to the committee of their surveillance and monitoring at these sites. Sir Lo testimony Blohem, CEO of Solomon Island Ports, assured the committee that SI Ports is a fully fledged port facility of international standards in terms of equipment, the professionalism of the staff, and also space of the Wakalohemia Lodea. He further assured the committee that there is no cargo too big, no cargo too fragile, or no cargo too sophisticated for Solomon Island Ports Authority to handle. That begs the question, sir, why do we need another international wharf, one privately owned, in the immediate vicinity of Solomon Islands Ports Authority? Milivi Mansaya with the controller for him, Luk Lohem. So I'm aware a special committee of cabinet has been appointed to investigate these issues surrounding sovereign wharves. So I also want to reiterate that this is a matter of national concern, and I hope Cabinet will release the report to Parliament when completed. Fourthly, another concern, Migaremlo cash flow. I've already alluded to my concerns earlier, but I am concerned that the ongoing cash flow situation at the Treasury will affect delivery of this budget. That one Minister, I'm go, but I think I'm going to fix it now. I urge the Minister that even if a moratorium is applied, the budget allocations to the productive sector ministries, when we tell them today, agriculture, commerce, aviation, MID, culture and tourism, those allocations, sir, you no put in reservation line, you go ahead normal line. To not do that is a repetition of the past kind, also by him do him same no more. Also this year and previous year again. Fifthly, sir, voter registration have come up to inside law inquiry. Sir, this is a requirement under the Act which government must deliver on. Past practice of carrying out registration on the eve of elections is not only expensive but a logistical nightmare for our citizens, the Commission, and of course the intending candidates. So I support the PAC's recommendation on this issue. Sixthly, sir, me concern too, law. There's walk away or no walk away. Solomon Islands Independent Commission Against Corruption over that dream. This fella commission, no sa walk no because he may not have resources. He may not give him staff. He may not pay him adequately. He may not give him equipment, and also, I'm sure the Prime Minister is already addressing this very, very important work, or addressing these issues faced by this commission. Sir, I believe that the government and the country as a whole will benefit from a fully operational commission. I believe the benefits far outweigh the costs in the commission, so the commission must adequately resource. And of course, other agencies like Ombudsman or the man who are investigating all the actions along public. Me like for urgent government to adequately resource these agencies. Seventh and finally, sir, the minister announced that one fella, something by Amy Wakelham, is Sovereign Wealth Fund. I'd like to encourage the minister to take that. Now it's a long overdue policy action where you should make him, because there's a lot of activity and economic activity going on in especially our resource-based work, but we are not putting money aside for the future. It is a good policy, sir, but one which must have sound ring-fencing legislations to ensure its growth, but also to a little bit mitigating its overuse. Sir, not doing that, it will meet the same demise of a similar fund where we will try and put on 1980s and we forget what year now. Lord, this is with them logging or with the forestry. So problem lo that time now. The minister initiated and came up with it. So we will go ahead and but account central bank now, we will keep him that time. But as soon as minister look him selling inside, and puputum come now handle him inside. So the account or the fund slowly became the milk cow, but it quickly dried up. So no any fund or sell. That one now you must make sure him not repeat it again. So me conclude now, and I want to conclude by lending the support to the motion by the minister on the 2026 appropriation bill 2025. Sir, I believe the minister has made a good call, and I am hopeful that if delivered, the 2026 budget should set the right path for the country. But I urge again, reiterating again, that those ministries in the productive sector and infrastructure must have their allocations given to them. Don't deny those allocations through same cash flow issues at Treasury. Otherwise, we all run the risk of yet another good budget with good intentions, but one on paper only. That said, I would like to offer my support to the motion, and I receive my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Before Small Malaita. Let me give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Climate Change. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to join other colleagues to contribute to this important bill, the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025. I thank the Minister of Finance and Treasury and his team for tabling this bill and at its usual time frame, and congratulate the executive government for its commitment and confidence to bring this bill before the House. At the outset, we continue to grapple with the far-reaching impacts of global economic volatility, rising inflation and ongoing disruption to international supply chains that weigh heavily on our economy. These challenges are not only affect the cost of living for our people, but also influence the stability of our markets, the resilience of our business, and the confidence of our investors. For a small island economy such as ours, these pressures underscore the importance of building resilience diversifying our economic base, and strengthening local production to reduce dependency on external supply chain. Mr. Speaker, despite the prevailing economic challenges, the announcement by the Minister of Finance highlighting growth in sectors such as agriculture, tourism, communication and mining is both encouraging and strategic. These developments are particularly significant as they provide opportunities to integrate sustainability into economic growth, ensuring our natural resources are managed wisely and that environmental safeguards are embedded in the expansion of these critical sectors. While my ministry is mandated to lead government's policies and programs on these safeguards, it is evident that success requires collective responsibility. Our path must be one of resilience and determination. We must continue to learn, to innovate, and to pursue solutions that are tailored to our context and culture. By doing so, we will unlock the full potential of our nation to confront and overcome the threefold crisis of climate change, loss of biodiversity, and environmental pollution. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Finance has reminded us that the theme for the 2026 budget is accelerating economic transformation, resourcing the resource to drive economic growth and sustainable development. This theme is both ambitious and inspiring, as it recognizes that our nation already possesses valuable resources in our people, our land, our oceans, and our institutions. The challenge before us is to harness these resources and empower our institutions and people to drive inclusive growth. For my ministry, this theme speaks directly to our mandate. Our natural environment is the foundation of our economy, and by resourcing it wisely, we can unlock opportunities in agriculture, fishery, tourism, renewable energy, while ensuring that growth remains safe, sustainable, and resilient. It also underscores the importance of aligning environmental protection and management with economic transformation by embedding climate resilience into infrastructure, integrating disaster risk management into planning, and protecting, managing, and restoring biodiversity as a source of sustenance, livelihoods, and cultural identity. We can ensure that economic progress does not come at the expense of future generations. The 2026 budget theme is not only a call to accelerate growth, but also a reminder that sustainable development must be a guiding principle of our transformation journey. Mr. Speaker, in the 2026 budget, my ministry has been entrusted with an allocation of approximately 36.8 million for recurrent expenditure, of which 13.6 million is direct to salaries and 23.2 million to other charges. This represents an overall increase of 4.3% compared to the 2025 budget, driven largely by a 12.9% rise in payroll charges. Underscoring my ministry's commitment to strengthening our workforce and extending service to the provinces. At the same time, the development budget has been set at 5 million, reflecting a 50% reduction from 2025. Whilst my ministry may not always receive the full extent of financial resources it requires through the national budget, we remain appreciative of the support that it provides to continue implementation of our various mandates. We understand that the government must balance competing priorities across other ministries, and we acknowledge the effort made to ensure that resources are distributed fairly and strategically. In this context, my ministry has continued to demonstrate adaptability and innovation, by maximizing the allocation entrusted to us, while complementing them with a strong and strategic partnership, collaborative arrangement, reinforcing the mainstreaming of aligned responsibility into other sectors. These approaches have enabled us to deliver in our cross-cutting mandates despite resources constraints, and they highlight the importance of cooperation, shared responsibility, and collective commitment. With continued collaboration between government, including provinces, development partners, civil society, and communities, I am confident that my ministry will be able to sustain its programs and contribute effectively to the broader national agenda of resilience and sustainable development. In this regard, I wish to place on record my sincere appreciation to the many stakeholders who continue to support our work. This includes communities and community-based organizations, especially our youth, women, traditional and community leaders, as well as churches and religious institutions, private sector organizations, local and international NGOs, and our key bilateral development partners. I also acknowledge the invaluable contribution of the UN agencies such as UNDP, WMO, FAO, SPREP, and SPC, IUNC, and multilateral partners such as the World Bank, the ADB, GCF, GEF, and its allied funding bodies. At the national level, I extend appreciation to provincial governments and fellow line ministries, including the Ministry of Provincial Government Institutional Strengthening, the Ministry of Forest and Research, the Ministry of Mines, Energy and Rural Electrification, Ministry of Fishery and Marine Resources, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, Ministry of National Planning, Aid Coordination, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade, Ministry of Finance and Treasury, Ministry of Health and Medical Services, and Honiara City Council. We look forward to continue strengthening collaboration with other ministries as well in pursuit of our shared mission to provide an enabling environment for the safety and social economic development of the Solomon Islands through the application of necessary safeguards. Mr. Speaker, along the budget measures, 2026 will also mark a year of significant legislative reform for my ministry. We are advancing the Environment Bill, which will modernize our fit-for-purpose framework for sustainable resources management and environmental protection, managing and restoration. At the same time, the Meteorology Act amendment will strengthen the provision of weather and climate services, ensuring cost recovery for some of its services to ensure that there is sustainability. In addition, the National Disaster Council Act review will enhance coordination, preparedness, and response mechanism for disaster, reflecting lessons learned from recent events. Finally, the introduction of a climate change bill will provide a comprehensive legislation foundation for our national climate adaptation and mitigation agenda, positioning our domestic mandates and action with international commitment. Collectively, these reforms will strengthen and equip my ministry with the legislative tools necessary to safeguard our environment, strengthening resilience and secure a sustainable and safe future for the Solomon Islands. Let me now turn to address the recommendation from the Public Accounts Committee report on the 2026 Appropriation Bill. With that, I thank the PAC Committee in providing the two recommendations. Firstly, in relation to recommendation number 59, I am pleased that the PAC has recognized the need to increase budgetary resources for environmental monitoring and reporting to ensure we are capacitated to effectively address the negative impacts from sustainable development and practices has on the environment. In our context, developments like logging and mining bring both opportunities and responsibility. They can contribute to livelihoods and development, yet they also bring environmental footprints that must be understood and managed. This calls for regular monitoring that helps ensure they proceed within safety and sustainable conditions, balancing growth with ecological integrity with minimal repercussion to people's safety and well-being. By continuously tracking impact, we can enforce permits and caution, review and measure restoration or rehabilitation efforts, and ensure that our local community receive the benefits while safeguarding water quality, biodiversity, and cultural heritage. With this in mind, the majority of emphasis is on both our recurrent and development budget as prioritized for environment monitoring and reporting. Parallel to this, we will strengthen our programs with provinces, communities, and partners, and partner with NGOs and CBOs, including protected areas rangers and environmental inspectors, to extend our environment enforcement and compliance network more broadly. Next, for the recommendation number 60, I have noted PAC attention in ensuring that the required state of environment is prepared and tabled in Parliament. The SOE is a legal requirement under the Environment Act 1998, of which should be prepared at 3 years interval. The last SOE report was produced in 2019 and overdue, so I wish to guarantee this Honourable House that it will be my commitment to finalise and present the next State of Environment report covering the 7 years time frame by next year. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I wish assure you that the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, Disaster Management and Meteorology will work diligently within the budget resources entrusted to us to manage and account for the implementation of our program in 2026. We also know that our journey will not be taken alone. With the steadfast support of our other ministry, provincial government, NGOs, multilateral and bilateral partners, community groups, and private sector, our efforts will be strengthened and our reach extended. Together, we will advance resilience, safeguard our environment, and build a stronger, more united nation. Above all, we are determined to leave behind a legacy of resilience and sustainability, a legacy that future generations of Solomon Islands can inherit with pride and confidence. With this remark, I support the motion and resume my seat.
MP for Baigwa-Sefola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I rise to join other colleague members of Parliament to render my full support to the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025. So, please allow me to thank the Honourable Minister for Finance and Treasury for tabling the bill before this House for debate and eventual passage, Mr. Speaker. The appropriation bill, as we know, Mr. Speaker, is the legal authority or instrument that allows the current government of the day to expend public funds according to its plans, purposes, and policies. And for my ministry, Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank the Minister of Finance and Treasury and those who involved in the budget for allocating to my ministry a total sum of $36,333,768. That's for the recurrent and the development budget for my ministry.
the Ministry of Forest and Research, Mr. Speaker. So as I'll speak, we have experience in the forestry sector that there's depletion of logging activities going on, hence really affects the fiscal policy of the government. For the past decades, as shown in the report, Mr. Speaker, we have earned a lot of revenue from the forestry revenue to the government. But as shown in the report produced by the Public Accounts Committee, we are declining. The revenue for the government is declining in terms of forestry export timber, and therefore it brings a lot of concern to the current government because it now affects our fiscal policy in terms of revenue, Mr. Speaker, sir. And as such, let me thank the Minister for coming up with the budget, which focuses on other revenue sectors, resource sectors, like the agriculture, fisheries, mining sector, and of course tourism. Those are important sectors which I believe once much of the budget focuses on, we will increase and improve the revenue collection of the government in the place of forestry, Mr. Speaker. So, allow me to comment a little bit on a few things in terms of my ministry. For the budget allocated, the recurrent budget stands at $25,697,768. That's an increase of 7% from the previous year, 2025. And the increase basically to cater for contract pay for super-scale officers who will go on contract as of January next year. It also covers long and dedicated service benefits for retirees. Also, it will cover bonus allowances to officers in the provinces who will receive their payments as of January next year, and of course, reinstatement of special duty allowances for technical officers. So that's the increase, Mr. Speaker, sir, and we believe once those, especially those who are working in the provinces, are given allowances, they will try their best endeavors to ensure and to make sure that monitoring and compliance are carried out fully, Mr. Speaker. Under the recurrent budget, also, Mr. Speaker, on key activities that will be implemented by my ministry, number one, forest development, reforestation, and forest rehabilitation activities. That's covered under the recurrent budget. Also, we have forest monitoring, compliance, and enforcement in the logging sector. Number three, forest resource and information services. Number four, downstream processing initiatives. Number five, herbarium and botanical improvement. Mr. Speaker, I have the opportunity to discuss our botanical garden with one of our bilateral partners. And they have proposed good ideas how to at least improve or provide the botanical garden with services that attracts tourism. And one of the ideas that was shared, Mr. Speaker, sir, is for our traditional people at home to come and plant trees which they use for custom medicines. And then when tourists come, they can explain to them this herb or this tree is used for this. And that's a good proposal, Mr. Speaker. And so I'm so happy that we have entered into serious discussion on that, and hopefully they will provide funds for that, for us to improve the botanical garden area. Put up a fencing there and maybe create a place for tourism there. Rather than selling our products in the street, we have our people there and allow the tourists to come over there. Not only that, but for recreational centers. Yeah? Create the botanical garden for children to go and enjoy their time there, families, and of course have facilities there. So that's a big project coming up, and let me acknowledge that donor partner for that positive response in our discussion, Mr. Speaker. In terms of our development budget, Mr. Speaker, sir, a total of $10,636,000 was allocated for next year. It was the same budget that was also allocated in 2025 to my ministry, Mr. Speaker. And for that budget, $6,310,000 is allocated for downstream processing, which by me supporting those who are involved in furniture making, especially those in the RTCs, where they are involved with joineries and carpentry and timber production, Mr. Speaker. Also, that money will go for expansion of the current timber yard, Lord Henderson, to cater for increased supply of timbers by timber producers, Mr. Speaker. Monitoring and capacity building will also be covered under that development budget, and of course, monitoring of these 67 portable sawmills that was given by JICA to our people, Mr. Speaker. And at this juncture, let me thank JICA for their continuous support, and we are also expecting some more portable sawmills to be delivered as soon as possible, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, in terms of sustainable learning development programs, $4,326,000 was allocated for that in the development budget. And that will cover support to research in the forestry sector and developing the research division within my ministry. Also, that will cover forestry management and development, including implementation of forestry plantations and reforestation, as well as carbon markets and REDD+. Number 3, it will also cover review of logging regulatory framework and strengthen enforcement and compliance, as well as soliciting approval of the Forestry Bill 2025, which has already been submitted to Cabinet, Mr. Speaker. So, on that note, sir, we have certain regulations that are coming up to Mr. Speaker, apart from the Forestry Bill, and one of which is the regulation to allow export of forest plantations. So those who are planting teak and other forest plants, there is a regulation coming. It's with the AG to allow export of those plantation trees, apart from the natural trees that are governed under the Forestry Act. Also, regulation in terms of the 8% downstream production. So we are reviewing that under the logging regulatory framework because at the moment it attracts a lot of disputes, especially between loggers, contractors, licenses, and landowners as to who owns that 8%, Mr. Speaker. So there is, with greatest respect, ambiguity in the regulation, and we hope to carry out proper work on that to ensure it is clear, concise for our people. Also, there's regulation on tenement areas. We have directed our office to carry out that with the Attorney General's chambers. We have mining coming up. And the mining, as we know, is the forecast of our economy at the moment. And the forestry sector must work with that, the mining sector, to ensure when there is a mining lease available, they can run straight to my ministry to give them permit to do clear felling. So that's a regulation coming up on that matter, Mr. Speaker. And also renewal of licenses. At the moment, we need to govern our remaining forest. Mr. Speaker, I think it's now less than 10% that is remaining, more so on the 400 meter above sea level. And no man start this time, Mr. Speaker. We need to regulate to ensure that licenses that are expired are properly regulated. So there's also a regulation coming up from my ministry. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me wind down here by acknowledging those bilateral partners, development partners with my ministry, and that is, I wish to state here, the Government of Australia, through the ASEA, for the ongoing research on forest plantations and rehabilitation of low-cover forest and recent signing of livelihoods in forest ecosystem recovery with the ministry, Mr. Speaker. Also, let me thank the government of the United States of America for the support on Somaliland's threshold program under the Millennium Challenge Corporation. Also, let me thank the Japanese government through JICA for their continuous joint support to the ministry as well. Not forgetting Coalition of Rainforest Nations for their technical assistance in supporting the development and implementation of RED Plus program in our country, Solomon Islands, and also SPREP through PAYBACK, that's Pacific Ecosystem-Based Adaptation to Climate Change. Thank you so much too for your support. And finally, but not the least, the UK government under the Forest Governance Markets and Climate Program implemented by the European Forest Institute with the Ministry of Forest and Research. That was a program for the last 10 years. Mr. Speaker, that's my short submission in respect to this bill before this House. And on behalf of my ministry, we will continue to work with the line ministries in the resource sector, the government agencies, donor partners, and other stakeholders on every areas, on mutual and shared policies to ensure forest, resources, and ecosystems are sustainably and reasonably managed for the benefit and resilience of all Solomon Islanders. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I support the bill and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any other members wish to speak on the motion? Thank you. Let me give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Police and National Security and MP for Gisopol Bahari. You have the floor, sir.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for granting me the floor to contribute to the debate on the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025. I rise, like others, in full support of this budget and wish to begin by acknowledging the Honourable Minister Mnoloya for Finance and Treasury for his leadership in tabling this important bill before Parliament. Sir, please also allow me to extend my appreciation to the permanent secretaries and technical officers from the Ministry of Finance and Treasury, the Ministry of National Planning and Development Coordination, the Ministry of Public Service for their tireless collaboration with all line ministries, including my own, in formulating the 2026 budget. Sir, let me also thank the Chairman of the Public Account Committee, the Honourable MP for Central Honiara, and his members for their great effort in ensuring that this bill has successfully met its parliamentary requirements, and for preparing a user-friendly report that will continue to guide government agencies on the way they prepare and plan to execute the 2026 budget and also preparing future budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, preparing a national budget of this scale, particularly under the fiscal constraint we continue to navigate, is never easy. I therefore commend the collective effort that has enabled us to present a budget that is responsible, realistic, and aligned with our national development aspiration. Mr. Speaker, the 2026 budget is framed against a steady but cautious economic outlook. As others have alluded to, growth is focused at 2.7%, supported by the key productive sectors: agriculture, mining, fisheries, and business services. These sectors remain central to the government's agenda to diversify the economy and reduce reliance on logging. And me happy to mass that debate from both sides of the House. They support that you must strengthen in the productive and resource sector in ensuring that we able to mitigate what the economic challenges that we face. Sir, this budget reflects the government's commitment to fiscal stability, economic transformation, and responsible public financial management. Consistent with the policy intention outlined by the Honourable Minister of Finance and Treasury during his budget address. A central focus of the government is to anchor macroeconomic stability by keeping public debt sustainable, strengthening cash reserves, and ensuring inflation remains within the manageable levels. Consistent with this, the 2026 budget adopts a prudent and balanced fiscal approach with expenditures aligned to realistic revenue projections and strengthened expenditure controls. Sir, development partners will continue to play a vital role through both direct and indirect budget support. The government calls for deeper collaboration as it advances major reforms and transformative investment across the economy. In my ministry, ongoing dialogue with our bilateral partners in regard to this particular point, Mr. Speaker. Sir, our nation has endured profound social, economic, and political challenges over the years, some of which honourable colleagues from both sides of this House have alluded to. But it is important that we remind ourselves of those challenges and move forward. We have faced civil unrest, natural disasters, external global economic pressures, and supply chain shocks. Yet, despite this hardship, GNAT government has continued to deliver essential services, rebuilding confidence, and restore stability for our people. Furthermore, our logging sector, which many have alluded to, once the backbone of national revenue, is in decline, with harvesting capacity now reduced to approximately 1 million plus cubic meters per annum. This underscores, Mr. Honourable Speaker, that our economy can no longer depend on a single extractive sector for its future prosperity. How do we address these challenges? Sir, this government has chosen leadership over hesitation and reform over complacency. I have confidence in the vibrant young Minister of Finance and colleague ministers for their enthusiastic spirit and confidence in fiscal management and strategic implementation plan on the 2026 budget. The answer lies in strong, coherent national policies targeted at restoring growth, opportunity, and resilience. Sir, the 2026 budget is guided by 5 high-level national priorities that now drive all government decisions, as alluded to by others: building economic resilience through economic diversification, investing in transformative infrastructure, improving the delivery of public service, promoting peace and national security, where my ministry is responsible for, strengthening fiscal stability in the medium to long term. These priorities are not mere aspirations. They are the strategic pillars upon which the 2026 budget has been constructed. So, this budget operationalizes this bill will operationalize these priorities through 4 major sectors, which we all are well known to: the social, productive, fundamental, and resource sector. And many of my colleagues have debated on this budget out from those sectors. Each of these sectors carries a specific responsibilities to transform policies into results. The detailed appropriation bills are being debated and defended by my colleagues, and I commend them for their leadership. In summary, Mr. Speaker, the 2026 budget is a disciplined, forward-looking financial plan that supports stability while positioning our nation for higher, more inclusive growth, despite the challenges that we foresee. It strengthens resilience, drives diversification, and aligns spending with the priorities necessary to deliver long-term economic and social progress for the people of Solomon Islands. Allow me, sir, to briefly speak in support of the key thematic sectoral program to affirm our citizens the GNAT government is working very hard to serve them before I speak on my ministry's program. Let me begin in the health sector, Los Samfalagot program, just to affirm that this government can continue to deliver, Mr. Speaker, sir. Providing free health and medical services always been very expensive and challenging for a very narrow economy-based country like Solomon Island, where most of us agree upon. However, the 2026 budget bill has promising support to improve this sector, Mr. Speaker, sir. For example, 33.9 million will spent on developing 16 primary healthcare services. 25.4 million will be allocated to construct 6 secondary healthcare service infrastructure. 7.5 million will be allocated to support tertiary healthcare services. 1.7 million will be allocated to support national public health facilities. Sir, I have the honor of visiting some of these facilities when I accompanied on the Honorable Prime Minister. Example, Deva Rural Health Clinic Service and the Rural Health Center in Isabel Province. And I can confirm, sir, to you that this government is delivering high-standard life-saving facilities to the people of Solomon Islands. I have no doubt that the 2026 budget will transform the health sector in the coming years. Take, for instance, the development budget in the Ministry of Infrastructure. And my good friend from Small Malaita had me touch base on some of the programs that by transforming na country, Mr. Speaker, sir. For 14.23 million budget, support to critical infrastructure, funded by our donor partners. 34.77 million National Transport Fund program for Honiara Road. Godol Canal Road and Renal Bellona Road, 22 million. And then including 9 sea infrastructure and transport services. 55.879 million for economic infrastructure. And the list goes on. These amounts, sir, of resources, when spent rightfully, will have lasting benefit for urban and rural people of Solomon Islands. Also, Ministry of Commerce too, I have just presented before I do. Industry led by immigration has 7 development programs that have the allocation of 67,333,770 dollars, Mr. Speaker. This amount will support trade and export program for SMEs, copra, cocoa buyers, and SEMA. It will also support credit guarantee scheme through CBSI and other SME hub service providers. The Ministry of Agriculture as well has also 40 million allocation to support agriculture production and infrastructure program. These budgets will go directly to our rural farmers and will boost production of coconut, cocoa, rice, cattle, and other agricultural products. Sir, we also like to commend the work of the Ministry of Forestry, have also critical during this period of economic hardship. Sir, as you may have known since independence, forestry sector contributed between 15 to 20% of government revenues and employed nearly 20% of our labor force. Successive governments have acknowledged, sir, that unsustainable logging has overexploited our forests. GNET's economic policy initiatives are therefore designed to transition from round log or extracting log number to sustainable harvesting and value-added production, ensuring long-term prosperity. The ministry is advancing in two strategic important programs where Minister have alluded to, downstream processing and sustainable logging program. These initiatives align national economic development with global environmental standards, protecting both our revenue base and our natural heritage, Mr. Speaker, sir. Sir, the forestry sector can still remain as one of the backbone of our economy, and GNET has recognized the urgent need for sustainable management, downstream processing, and inclusive ownership and participation of resource owners in any forest investment framework, sir. So, whilst many say forestry and sunset industry, there are promising examples of community-led management that this House and our citizens should celebrate and support. Let me give you an example. The Falaki community in Central Kwara has pioneered agroforestry, supported by the Ministry of Forestry and Research. One of the leaders in that association, a good friend, former policy advisors of the Prime Minister's office too. They took their own initiative. This pilot project attracted JICA investment under the Sustainable Forest Resource Management Program, which emphasized participatory land use planning and agroforest system. Because of its sustainable nature, NGOs have further invested in infrastructure such as hydroelectricity, demonstrating how forestry can catalyze broader rural development. And we would like to see that resource owners, especially in the forest sector around Los Solomon Island, take their own initiatives whereby they are attracting support not only from government but from NGO as well, Mr. Speaker, sir. Sir, I joined the Honourable Prime Minister to head over the new partnership arrangement certificate between New Forest Limited, Kolobangara Island Investment Limited, and ICSI last month. Let me applaud the Solomon Island governments through its private-public partnership policy initiative between resource owners, government and private sector in Kolobangara Forest Product Limited. KFPL is a company that's jointly owned by ICSI, representing Solomon Islands government, and an investor, Ilet Edil Limited, before the recent new shareholding arrangement. And I would like to encourage all other resource owners to study different model of development and see what best fits them so that they can also utilize their resources, especially land, forest sector, mining sector as well. But to give some brief information so that resource owners and policymakers can be able to see how best they can address issues of interest in terms of how they can utilize their resources. I agree with the MP for Central Honiara that in 1992, and we are always thankful of him, Mr. Speaker, sir, Cabinet approved that Commissioner of Lands representing Solomon Island government and KLTF, the MP for Central Honiara is the founding trustee and still the trustee, one of the trustees of this institution, representing the people of Kolobangara, signed a deed of trust that clearly stated that all KFPL perpetual estate will be transferred to KLTF after 2 years. Since 1992, that didn't happen until 2014. There are some transactions in 2022, and we are still also pursuing to see how we resolve that issue so that it complied to the 1992 deed of trust. So yes, consecutive government from DCCG by the Honorable Prime Minister then, Honorable Member for East Choizo, Honorable Manasa Sogaware, and the Honorable Member for Small Malaita, Honorable Ricky Ho. They supported the initiative to ensure that we have a policy that actually guides the processes by which we fulfill the 1992 deed of trust. That's how it came about as a policy of the government. So yes, it is the Solomon Islands government through those consecutive governments that actually feature it. And I think it's a good policy initiative, Mr. Speaker said, for resource owners around the country to see what they have, opportunities they have in different sectors, looking at what policies government has in the different sectors and align themselves so that government can be able to have a clear understanding of what type of investment they want to pursue, setting up programs, allocating budget, so that implementation of those programs can be done in a transparent and in an accountable way. That's exactly what this government is doing, Mr. Speaker. So, Kolobangara people's experience for the last 30 years is one that many good resource owners in Solomon Island faces. I know similar such experiences. A lot of Kokota resource owners here, registering institutions, and facing challenges on how they can come united together, consult each other, working forward to ensure that they achieve common goals of what every people in those particular places are like. And so I continue to encourage that our resource owners must be united, working together, consult people as to what best they would like to do in the 4 sectors that we've been mentioning earlier. So the lesson we learned is that KFPL has faced challenges, notably as one of our landowners trustees, MP for Central Honiara, make mention, and that is very true. The loss of EU STABEX fund investment in forest project fell down, not only in Kolobangara, but around Lokata Islands where that particular fund Dingham ejected to. The failure stemmed from the absence of scientific soil testing, Mr. Speaker, leading to trees being planted in unsuitable areas. Today, KFPL plantation have undergone soil type identification, ensuring that the right trees are planted in the right places. And we have resolved the problems that if we only have scientific data on the soil type could have been avoided that time. So, I agree that KFPL may not for people of Loko Bangaranoma benefit, but it is for Solomon Island and it will remain that way. Mr. Speaker, let me now come to my ministry, the Ministry of Police, National Security and Correctional Services. I strongly endorse the 2026 budget theme, accelerating economic transformation, resourcing the resource to drive economic growth and sustainable development. This theme aligns seamlessly with the mandate of the Ministry of Police, National Security and Correctional Services. Security is the bedrock of development. Without peace, stability, and the rule of law, there can be no meaningful economic transformation. The focus of this budget, strengthening institutions, improving service delivery, and ensuring resources reach frontline agencies, supports our national security priorities. I welcome the emphasis placed on building a safer environment for investment, protecting communities, and supporting rural livelihoods. These are foundational to sustainable development and long-term national prosperity. Mr. Speaker, I will now provide the summary of what is being allocated to my ministry for 2026. My ministry has been allocated with a total of $435.8 million, comprising of a recurrent budget of $407.5 million, other charges budget of $194,898,158, and a development budget of $28,375,609, Mr. Speaker, sir. The approved baseline 2026 reflects an increase of $30.9 million compared to the 2025 approved budget, and I acknowledge the government for this positive increase. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me now to report on the key achievement of the Ministry of Police, National Security and Correctional Services during 2025. Despite resource constraints, the ministry delivered significant reform, strengthened capability, and advanced the nation's security posture. On the major institutional reform delivery for RSIPF and CSSI, in 2025, the ministry completed and secured cabinet endorsement of the RSIPF Expansion and Development Program 2025 to 2035. This is a 10-year phased police growth plan to expand recruitment, strengthen middle management, and support succession planning for senior ranks to ensure sustained and effective policing nationwide, Mr. Speaker, sir. The implementation of this reform plan will be in 3 phases. Phase 1 will be the foundational level. Phase 2 is the expansion phase, and phase 3 will be on consolidation. I am happy to note that some elements of phase 1 is covered in the 2026 budget, particularly for increased manpower positions. This will be the most comprehensive reform. Blueprint for policing and a similar plan will be equally drawn up for the corrections as well as in the new year. On the progress landmark national security legislation, Mr. Speaker, sir, substantial work has been achieved in progressing the Police Act review, CSSI Act review, and the National Security Bill as well. These reforms will modernize the legal foundation of our national security system, ensuring that legislation reflects contemporary realities and strengthen governance and oversight. My ministry will continue with the necessary work in 2026 and endeavors to complete by third quarter. On strengthening border security and infrastructure program, the ministry made notable progress through the National Border Security Policy, Mr. Speaker, sir. And these are key achievements. They include handover of the Western Border Outpost Interim Facility, which I have the honor to attend it myself, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the completion of the Eastern Border Outpost initial work of refurbishment to the Temotu Provincial Infrastructure and Combined and DMO office building. I know you have also witnessed this yourself, Mr. Speaker, sir. We thank our donor partners, the Australian government, for the financial support of these initial works. Also, there's continued implementation of the National Border Security Policy, of which a notable achievement is the successful implementation of the border management system in the Ministry of Commerce. And the Minister of Commerce actually joined the delivery of that particular program, Mr. Speaker, sir. These initiatives enhance surveillance, enforcement presence, and interagency coordination at both maritime and land borders. Our next program, Mr. Speaker, sir, is on the Advanced National Security Strategy, Intelligence Cooperation, and Regional Engagement. The Ministry successfully launched the National Security Strategy 2025 to 2028, providing a unified national direction for managing security risks that we anticipate to encounter in the future, sir. We also strengthened bilateral intelligence cooperation, conducted regional study tours to our neighboring Pacific Island countries like Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea, and advanced security-related dialogue with our regional partners as well, all contributing to a stronger Pacific security environment. Fifth, Mr. Speaker, sir, is on improved community safety, crime prevention, and UXO management. This program is also very important because HEMI affecting life of people, believe me. And especially in the UXO program, we continue to encounter threats, life-threatening situation, Mr. Speaker, sir. Nationwide implementation of the Crime Prevention Strategy 2023 to 2027 continued with increased community outreach and provincial engagement. RSIP have expanded its community policing program, and CSSI enhanced rehabilitation, vocational training, and reintegration support for inmates. The Ministry also progressed the UXO bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, established the UXO unit within the Ministry headquarters, and expanded explosive ordnance disposal (EOD) programs, addressing long-term standing wartime remnants that continue to threaten communities. Sixth, other achievement includes the completion of phase 1 of the modernization of the RSIPF Academy, and Ministry is working on the phase 2 of fulfilling requirements of the CITESA before the Police Academy can be registered formally under CITESA. You may like for looking that our graduates from Police Academy Blayumi are receiving na certificate that they may recognize regionally, and that is why it must be accredited according to CITESA's criteria and expectation of a certified academy, Mr. Speaker, sir. The ministry, in that regard, have also opened with this program, the ministry has also opened the new Macau police station. And MP for Small Malaita hem kamate dinna detala opening. And also Noro police station recently in Western Province, where the Honorable Prime Minister hemi attended to, Mr. Speaker. These are part of the ministry's broad goal of upgrading and modernizing our police infrastructure, and I thank and acknowledge our donor partners for their ongoing support in this regard. This week, I continue to have dialogue with them, and there are green lights that continual support by him given to ensure that we have police infrastructure in and around our country, Mr. Speaker, sir. Sir, the 2026 budget, let me come to it now, will enable the ministry to pursue several strategic priorities necessary to safeguard our nation and strengthen frontline services. One is in the area of strengthening frontline operations and workforce capacity. The ministry will prioritize recruitment, training, and professional development for RSIPF and CSSI in this particular program. Current police to population ratio remains below international benchmarks, necessitating structured recruitment and enhanced training support. You may still below expected benchmark of one police is to 200, but for Solomon Island, ratio is still very high. One is to almost 300 or so now at the moment, but you may continue to work, increasing number of our police personnel so that we are able to reach the benchmark that is expected of RSIPF, Mr. Speaker, sir. Number two, now, we advancing national security legislative reforms and continue with implementation of national security strategy. The ministry will finalize the Police Act, CSSI Act, and the National Security Bill for Parliament's consideration. We are anticipating that Mifal Banafo work and completing these bills law next year, 2026, Mr. Speaker, sir. Work will also continue in implementing the national security strategy across the government machineries. Third, sir, is on the enhancement of border security and maritime surveillance. We will continue to work on border outposts, strengthening our border security coordination and advancing our maritime security coordination with all stakeholders. Number four, program for next year is on the infrastructure rehabilitation and asset renewal. Many of the ministry's 247 buildings, sir, remain in poor condition. The 2026 budget will support rehabilitation of critical police posts, correctional facilities, and administrative buildings. Vehicle and asset upgrades currently unfunded. We are not able to secure that, but remain a high priority due to logistical challenges across our islands. A fifth program will be on strengthening intelligence, early warning, and strategic coordination. Investment in intelligence analysis, threat monitoring, and situational awareness, sir, will also continue to support national readiness and whole of government coordination. Sixth program is on the expansion of the crime prevention and community safety programs. We will continue to strengthen provincial crime prevention committees, youth engagement, and community policing, key pillars for reducing social tensions and promoting peaceful communities. We have, sir, new evolving security threats in our communities too. this week or last week, Friday, I believe, me attending with the Prime Minister a press conference where the members of media questioned him about him latest online circulations about the young people fight and love to post fighting between the young people. And I responded by saying that all that kind activity must stop, and police encouraging young active people for engage in such activity, and we are encouraging our community policing committees throughout local communities, local country, for taking responsibility, ensuring that or having all the kind of activities or same young people involved. Second to the last program, expanding crime on the UXO management and national safety, Mr. Speaker, sir. The ministry will continue progressing UXO legislation, operationalizing the UXO unit, and expanding EOD capacity to address the high-risk areas identified through national surveys. It is so unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that you may have to deal with him now, our lifetime threat of an impact of problem that you may not choose him. But we will continue to collaborate with him, NGOs and regional partners to ensure that you may address the issue of UXO. Time you may progress within development local country, the more threat from UXO you may receive him, because you may continue to develop using land that actually cover some of these hazardous remains of World War II, Mr. Speaker, sir. The eighth and the final program, the implementation of the RSIPF Expansion and Development Program 2025 to 2035. The ministry will conduct dialogue and consultation with all donor partners for their support, and will determine the area that our donor partners can invest on in this 10-year program, Mr. Speaker, sir. We will continue to uphold our friends to all and enemy to none policy by engaging all our partners law development programs, and there is no exception in policy too, Mr. Speaker, sir. Sir, let me now take this opportunity to thank our development partners who continue to support policy, national security, border management, and correctional services. They include the government and the people of Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, the United States, the People's Republic of China, the United Kingdom, and now regional institutions such as the Pacific Island Forum and MSG. We also acknowledge our multilateral partners for strengthening capacity, providing technical assistance, and supporting institutional reforms. I further commend the leadership of the RSIPF Commissioner and the CSSI Commissioner. Our ranks and files, all our officers in blue and green uniform, and staff across the ministry headquarters. Their dedication ensures that our nation, despite the so many challenges we have, remains safe and stable. Mr. Speaker, as we look ahead to 2026, I am confident that the reforms, investment, and priorities outlined in this budget will continue to build a safer, more resilient, and more prosperous Solomon Islands. Security is not just a sectoral responsibility, it is a national enabler of economic growth, rural development, and social cohesion. This budget provides the foundation for us to strengthen our institutions, uphold the rule of law, and build peace and stability across all our beautiful 9 provinces. Mr. Speaker, I therefore express my full support for the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025 and encourage the honourable members of this honourable House to do likewise for the good of our people and our nation. With these remarks, I support the bill and resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. It's now past 1, and I think I will now suspend Parliament and will resume at 2 o'clock.